Hello everypony, and welcome to Inside Critical's Cranium, where we discuss aspects of the show, its characters, and the fandom as a whole. Today, I bring you guys another Valentine's Day special presentation of ICC. Last year, we covered the highly controversial topic of pony waifudom. It was more well received than I expected it to be, and I thank everyone that watched it, and especially those that gave it a like. But this year, I wanted to cover something even more controversial. Something still themed around love and Valentine's Day, as well as ponies. Oh yes, ladies and gentlemen, it's time to talk about clop. But not about the clop art itself, the people who clop, or whether clopping is right or wrong. I personally support the clop scene, and I may do another video about why in the near future. But today, I wanted to break down the psychology of the ponies and use science to give a statistical analysis on how each of the main six would realistically behave when it comes to sex. Also, near the end, you'll be able to find out which pony you'd be most compatible with in bed. Cool, huh? Now, first off, I won't be going over likely sexual orientations for the ponies, and if you have a different headcanon about what a certain pony's sexual life is like, that's fine. I'm not here to bash headcanons or even promote my own. I'm just here to give a statistically likely sexual life for each of the ponies. If you have a different headcanon, let me know in the comments below. Without further ado, let's get started. So to figure out how each of the main six would likely perform in bed, we have to talk about a special kind of test. In the psychology world, there is a test known as the myers-briggs type indicator, which can break people down into one of 16 different personality types. The test is around 60 questions, give or take a few, that measures your response to various personality traits on 4 different scales. Each question asks how strongly you agree or disagree with a given personality trait. Extroversion versus introversion is the first scale. This is basically how social you like to be. The more outgoing you are, the more extroverted you are, while the more reclusive and private you are, the more introverted you are. Simple enough. The next scale is sensing versus intuition. This looks at if you prefer to focus on the basic information around you, or if you interpret what's around you and construct your own meaning from it. The third scale is thinking versus feeling. This scale measures if you prefer to use logic or emotions to solve your problems. Do you look at the facts, or do you think about how the consequences will affect others? That's thinking versus feeling. Finally, we have judging versus perceiving. This looks at whether you prefer to have things decided and finished, or if you're open to different interpretations or ideas. Each question more accurately predicts which option of these 4 scales that your personality leans towards, and at the end gives you a 4-letter identifier about which options you identified with. For example, I just took the test myself, and my personality is labeled as INFP, which means I am more introverted than extroverted, prefer intuition over sensing, am more feeling than thinking, and more perceiving than judging. Just as a fun side note, some famous people who share my personality type include William Shakespeare, J.R.R. Tolkien, Johnny Depp, and Julia Roberts. You're probably saying, yes, this is all fascinating, Critical, but what does this have to do with how ponies like to get laid? Don't worry, I'm getting to it. Luckily, some kind soul on the Equestrian Dreamers forum, named Kitsune Cavalry, has done the work of giving each of the main 6 this Myers-Briggs personality test, using evidence from the show to back up his results. I'm going to go over those results right now. Also, if you want to take the Myers-Briggs test yourself and see how you compare to the pony's results, I'll leave a link in the description for you to check it out. Let's start with Fluttershy, probably the easiest to figure out. Fluttershy is an ISFP, which stands for Introverted, Sensing, Feeling, Perceiving. This is because Flutters, as Kitsune puts it, quote, can be over-accepting, has a strong willingness to trust, can be taken advantage of at times, and can be self-deprecating due to her strong empathy, quiet nature, and need to help others. Next, it's time for Pinkie Pie. Pinkie is also probably pretty easy to pinpoint, as she is an ENFJ, which stands for Extroverted, Intuition, Feeling, Judging. Kitsune's reasoning is that Pinkie has, quote, optimistic social interactions, she tries to encourage the best in others, is usually feeling bubbly, and she intuits most information, often from her past experiences. She She also has bottled and intensified negative emotions when they show, often affecting her physical condition. Next, we have Rainbow Dash, an ENTJ, or extroverted, intuition, thinking, judging. According to Kitsune, Rainbow Dash, quote, likes being in charge, has a need to achieve, may tend to ignore her own as well as others' feelings, and likes to get straight to the point. She also has a strong fear of failure and rejection. Number 4 on our main 6 personality tour is Rarity, who has been classified as an ESTP, or extroverted, sensing, thinking, perceiving. Kitsune says that the reason for this classification is that Rarity is, quote, sophisticated and charming, resourceful, has exaggerated emotions, and often causes scenes, end quote. Kitsune also admits that Rarity was the hardest character to pinpoint. Next up is Twilight Sparkle, who Kitsune classifies as an ISTJ, or introverted, sensing, thinking, judging. This makes sense due to Twilight being all about logic and knowledge. Kitsune says he landed on ISTJ for Twilight because she, quote, wants organization and structure, can become overly focused on details, and has rigid beliefs. She can experience stress from failure of what she thinks is necessary for acceptance, and her natural duty can be paralyzing. Finally, I saved the best for last. Applejack is, you guessed it, INFP, the same as me. Kitsune says she is, quote, generally cool-headed, family-oriented, has a strong moral code, and natural empathy with others. She can become strong-headed and unwilling to accept help from others due to her self-sacrificing nature and her own set of values and work ethics, end quote. Apart from the whole thing about being family-oriented, yep, that's pretty much me in a nutshell. So now that we know all the ponies' personality types, we can use those personality types to pinpoint how they likely view having sex. Thanks to an article from thoughtcatalog.com that lists how each of the 16 personality types views sex, we can just look up each of the main 6 personality types and see what it says. Let's go back down the list. Fluttershy is an ISFP, which means that she likely values sex as a very powerful statement of affection. ISFPs, like flutters, are the dictionary definition of sensual, and can get pretty creative in the bedroom, leaving all of their partners feeling loved, wanted, and satisfied. Pinkie Pie, being an ENFJ, is pretty much exactly as you'd expect when it comes to sex. She likely gets off to making other people happy, and has the sex drive of 10,000 rabbits. ENFJs are always down for a roll in the hay, and while they typically aren't known to be kinky, usually steering more towards the conventional side of sex, they love to have it. But they also usually have a huge fear of disappointing their lover and leaving them unsatisfied. Being an ENTJ, Rainbow Dash is likely a dominant lover, the equine equivalent of Christian Grey. ENTJs are imaginative and exploratory in bed and love to try new things. While being a bit of a BDSM freak, an ENTJ like Dashy also like to exploit their partner's kinkiest desires, and like to have the glory of leading their partner through a unique sexual journey. Rarity is an ESTP, and ESTPs are known for being very picky when it comes to who they give their lovin' to. They know what they want in a lover, and they are very direct and upfront about it. However, they also have a tendency to not think about what their partner might want, or whether they're enjoying themselves or not. Because of this, ESTPs often have a hard time maintaining a healthy sex life. Next, we have Twilight Sparkle with the personality type ISTJ. If you guessed that Twilight probably liked to actually schedule her sex at a specific date and time down to the exact position she wanted, well then you'd be absolutely right. ISTJs like Twilight view sex in a systematic way and a vital part of any healthy relationship. Their partners know they can count on them for a consistent and predictable good time. ISTJs enjoy sex, but they usually aren't keen on doing anything too out there and crazy in bed. Finally, let's see if Applejack and I view sex in a similar way. INFPs like AJ and I are all about the romance. For us, sex is never just a physical affair. We both have to be emotionally invested in our partners when consenting to sex. For all you AJ and Pinky shippers out there, you're on the right track, as INFP and ENFJ are known to be electric together. The only thing INFPs enjoy more than the romantic aspect of intimacy is reflecting on it afterwards. AJ and I want lovers that can make us feel something. I gotta say, I've definitely obtained a newfound interest in Applejack at the end of this ICC, and found a few surprising results along the way. What did you guys think of this special Valentine's ICC? What's your Myers-Briggs personality test results, and which pony do you most gel with when it comes to sexual intimacy? Let me know in the comments below, and as always, I'm Critical Thought, and I will see you all in my next video. Never stop thinking critically.